is 10 things that I've learned from my teenage years.
Why am I recording a video in my bathroom, you ask?
There's nowhere else in the house, in my home house right now, that there is no one, and the lighting in here is pretty good, so I just came in to use the bathroom. I was like, instead of waiting for my mum to not be using the sitting room, which is highly unlikely to happen at all until tonight, which is when I won't record a video, I decided I was going to record one in here now. I came up with the idea for this video about 2 or 3 weeks ago, possibly a few months, maybe a month or two. And I have so many other ideas, but it's just been a case of sitting down, recording them and writing out a plan. I don't script any of my videos, but I do have a rough plan on my notebook here of points. I have pointers just so I can get my point across, and then I'll just chit chat about it. None of that part is scripted. I don't like the idea of scripting, and I don't think I'll be able to script anyway, but obviously you need a general plan. This video is me discussing 10 things that I learned in my teens, or from my teenage years, teens. So I'm going to just get straight into it, and I obviously have so many other things that I've learned. These are things that came to my head the day that I planned this video, and were the first things. And I was going to redo it because I was like, are there 10 things that I want to say I've learned? But I'm going to go with it because they're what came to mind first, and I feel like that's raw. The first thing I've learned from my teenage years: boys are not as important to school, family, or you/yourself. Have fun, but don't commit. And the reason I say this is because all throughout my teenage years, and my early 20s actually, I have been putting boys before myself, I suppose. Like, I've always thought that being desired, being in love, not that I've thought it was one of my priorities, but it was always, as a loving person and someone who loves love and loves having a really good connection, a close connection with the male species, I have always put that first, by accident I suppose, because I was always looking for outside validation. Whereas the last 2-3 years I've slowly learned, and this year especially, I feel like it's really just hit me, that validation from exterior sources, let it be men, likes, compliments from strangers, anything outside of yourself, gaining validation from anything outside of yourself, is not unhealthy. I mean, in small amounts, I suppose everyone needs those compliments, everyone needs that reassurance that they are pretty, that they are nice to talk to, that they have good style. But it's you yourself, I've learned, that is the main person that's going to, or that should believe this and know it for yourself without needing someone else to know it to make you think it. I always put it before school. I always put boys before my exam results, grades. I always put being liked, people thinking that I was good looking. All of that came before education. All of that came before what I actually did in my own life that gave me happiness. Like, I know I used to, like, when I was 18 or 19, I always used to get, let's say, dressed up, as in I put makeup on, do my hair, all of that, just to take pictures of myself, which at the time, like, some of the time, that was a really good thing to do because I was doing it for myself to feel good, but I would also be doing it so I could text people, and if I was Snapchatting someone, I would look good. I'd have to look good all the time, or else I just wouldn't put my face in a picture. Whereas now, there is some days, don't get me wrong, there is some days that I don't use Snapchat anymore anyway, really, very rarely, but when I do, there will be days that I don't want to put my face in a picture, and that's fine, that's so okay, that is normal, that's good. But if there's times where I do want to put my face in the picture and I don't have makeup on, I will still put my face in the picture. It's not, I don't rely on having my full face done, my hair done, to now feel like I am worthy of being liked or being spoken to. I don't let it affect my opinion of myself most of all. I mean, everyone has things they're insecure about. Everyone has things that they don't like about themselves. Every girl I feel does feel a little insecure without makeup, but that's because we are so used to wearing makeup. And I'm really, don't get me wrong, it's a process. You know, I'm really just trying to become comfortable with who I am when I am not, when I don't have that mask on. I'm trying to become comfortable with showing people who I am when I'm not performing, you know, when I'm not being the version of myself the only version of myself that I think people like, because it isn't true. The right people will like you for who exactly you are, without makeup, without cool outfit on, any of that. And boys, as good as those experiences are throughout your teens, and you definitely have to meet people and experiment, you know, like you need to have fun. It's all part of growing up, but committing to someone while you're in your early teens, for me, is just not, I don't think it's a time that is necessary, because your brain's still developing. You getting to know yourself, that's still a work in progress at that time. Committing to someone, I feel, at that age only takes away from the learning, like learning who you are, getting to know what it is you like and what you don't like, and what you want and what you don't want in a relationship. And at that age, I think you are only learning that, so it's very hard to commit to someone and you don't know that it's the right thing. Now, I'm not dissing, I know there's been lots of couples that have met in their teenage years and are married now, like that is fine, I suppose, for some people. For me, it was one thing that I was just like, yeah, I don't regret it, because I have learned a lot from really, really long, an 8-year relationship when I was in my teenage years, and it turned out to be one of the most toxic general relationships I've ever had in my life. And it really taught me what I should accept, what I shouldn't accept, how I should be treated, how I really shouldn't be treated. And it taught me that I needed to make more room, more time, and more space for getting to know me, getting to know myself. And yeah, boys are temporary, family and friends are not. Friends might be, but your friends for life will not be temporary, and investing time and energy into them and your own goals, your own passions, your own values, yourself in general, is much more worth it than investing everything into a boy who's not going to be in your life forever. The second thing that I learned from my teens: looking good on the exterior means nothing if you don't feel good internally. This is so important, and again, kind of relates to the first point, because I have always relied on feeling good externally, or looking good on the exterior, and really neglected how I felt internally. Again, unknowingly, I didn't do this by choice, but I had always just wanted to feel and be desired. I always wanted to look great, even if it was a thing that I had crippling anxiety inside and was so depressed. I was like, well, sure, if I look good. Again, like investing in your values, your passions, your hobbies. I feel like this is the key to feeling good internally. Putting time and effort into the people who are always there, make you feel good. Not latching on to people because you're scared that you feel like you're not worthy, so you're clinging on to people who really don't even affirm that, but you don't want to not be with someone. And if you feel good internally on the inside, you are going to glow on the outside. I suppose it's a part of growing up. The feeling good internally becomes a lot more important than how you look on the outside. Don't get me wrong, I'm not saying like self-care and putting effort into your appearance is not good. They're really good things to do, but prioritising one over the other is not good. The third thing that I learned from my teens, and this is a really important one. Your parents can only do the best with what they know. Give them credit. As a teenager, I feel like how do I say this? Everyone's parents, not messed up, but nobody is perfect in general in life. Nobody's parents are going to parent perfectly the whole way through their parent-child relationship. Maybe your parents grew up with no emotional support themselves. They don't know how to deal with their emotions themselves. How could they possibly be able to deal with your emotions or know how to support you 100% with your emotions if they don't know how to cope with themselves? That's an example of what I'm trying to say, because I'm unsure how to say that properly. Now, I'm not like, oh, that's an excuse for a parent to never be there for you, but just taking it into consideration, for me as a person, brought me a lot of acceptance, relief from this weight that I was carrying, thinking that it was to do with me, thinking I might have been the reason for these things, not that specifically, but for whatever it is that I hold or experienced with my parents, the feeling of lack, I suppose. The support was given to me in various ways, let's say. With my example, I got support in many ways, but maybe not always in the way that I needed it. Your parents can only do the best with what they have, with what they know, with what they were given. Everyone is constantly learning. It's not a case of them not caring. It's not a case that they don't love you. They just don't know. And it can be very, very difficult, I feel, sometimes, especially as a teenager. You're like, nobody understands me. Nobody gets what I'm going through right now. Nobody cares was a major one in my teenage years, which was horrible in the moment. But looking back, because I believed these things, I was so cut off that even if it was a thing, don't get me wrong, I did reach out for support, but I feel like if I hadn't have been so shut off and like, get away, you don't get it, then maybe it wouldn't have been as lonely. I used to not be very understanding of I thought, I used to look at, let's say, my friends' parents and what they would do and how they'd have a Sunday roast on a Sunday all together, or how their mum would do this with them but my mum wouldn't. And let's just example, in reality, my mum was working nights to give me food, to buy me clothes. Just don't look at all the things that they don't do, and maybe try and see what they do. And I know this doesn't apply to everyone's circumstances 100%, I know that. It's just a way really of me giving advice on how to accept it. I don't know if I explained that properly, but I think you'll get the general gist. And also, another thing, they are not going to be here forever, nor am I, nor are you. I feel like cherishing the good things and the good parts about the relationship you do have is a really good way to focus on the good and to get rid of the negative feelings you might have in association with the relationship. Now, number 4, I feel like is a massive issue in when I was a teenager, but has also, I feel, gotten worse for the people younger than me that would be in their teenage years right now. Binge drinking and smoking, or just general substance abuse, are not benefiting you. Using them as a social crutch, or a crutch in general, to deal with your feelings or emotions will only delay the process of gaining real confidence, gaining real good coping mechanisms that you can use in everyday life, and will delay you in general in living the life that you deserve to live. I have spoken about this on my Instagram and probably briefly in my YouTube videos, but as a teenager I definitely drank far too much, far too often for someone of my age. And again, did I know this at the time? No. Did I think this at the time? No. I was having the time of my life. You know, I don't necessarily, I do kind of regret it, but there's no point regretting things. So I don't regret it, but I just wish that I had have known the negative consequences and negative effects that would have on me later in my life, because I was in my early 20s with no coping mechanisms. All I knew was how to shut it off, how to shut the emotion out. And don't get me wrong, I went for walks, I did speak, I am good at opening up when things are bad. I've always been good at that, articulating my emotions and telling someone exactly how I feel. Now, not all the time, there's times I do not want to talk to anyone and I just want to be with it, which is okay too and it's necessary. But constantly bottling your emotions up, constantly avoiding your emotions, constantly looking to substances, bad, negative habits, gambling, any sort of addiction, anything that could become addictive is so destructive and really not going to help your situation as time goes on. Oh, that's really cute. I had the whole video recorded and I get to stop recording and it says that my iPhone needs to cool down before I can continue using it. Love it. Continuing on where I left off, I was on binge drinking and smoking are not benefiting you. Using them as a social crutch will only delay the process of getting real confidence and delay you getting coping mechanisms, developing coping mechanisms, knowing who you are as a person. All of these things that are essential to help you as you enter your 20s and later life. Things that will help you throughout all your life. I think I've said enough on this in the previous clip that I just watched, but I just think that it's becoming so normalised that so many people of younger age and older, like people of all age groups, are really taking to substances and things that just don't benefit them in the long run to feel better, to cope. And my heart goes out to anyone that does. I've been that person, but all it does is make things worse. And if I could go back and tell myself that, I would have listened. I probably wouldn't have, but I wish that I had have known and someone had told me. And I wish that I had have found other outlets and other ways of dealing with my emotions, and that I hadn't run from them and I had to face them and learned how to cope. I just found ways to exert that energy and put it into something else rather than using it destructively and bringing hate inwards, bringing negative habits that didn't benefit me into fruition and making them last for a lot longer than they really should have. Not that they should have ever happened in the first place, but yeah, but a massive one that I really wish that I had of not done. Just checking we're still recording, because if I go through all this again without it recording, I might scream. The fifth thing that I learned from my teenage years: you don't need to and should not be expected to know what you want to do for the rest of your life when you're leaving school. You should get to know yourself first, your strengths, weaknesses, passions and skills. Weaknesses in inverted commas. Everyone has things that they're not good at or as good at, and they're totally normal and totally fine, and realistically I feel like your weaknesses could always be improved anyway. As much as you might believe that they can't. Like my weakness would be time management, but I have really learned to manage my time so much better. Another weakness of mine might be perfectionism, which can be seen as a strength, but for me it would be a weakness because I never feel like anything is good enough, and therefore I will take too much time to do certain things because I don't want it to not be done 100% perfectly, which isn't necessary for every single thing you do in your entire life. But this one was really important to me because I think when I was in school anyway, and from third year up to my leaving cert, probably from first year to my leaving cert, I felt so expected and so pressurized to know what I wanted to do when I left school, to be certain that I wanted to do that thing for the rest of my life. And I hadn't a clue, I had not a clue. And there's so many different avenues for everyone that it is not a necessity to know this once you leave school, in my opinion. It's great to have ideas and know what things you do enjoy and maybe go towards those things, but it doesn't mean that that's going to be the thing you do forever, and it's not meant to be. But I feel like in leaving cert especially, it's so emphasised that you need to know your career because you can't drop out or else you've failed. You have to go to college this year because otherwise you're a bum and you're at nothing with your life, which is so not true. Some people need that time to get to know, some people need an extra year to deal with other stuff that they have going on outside of school that is actually holding them back from what they want to do in their career. There's so many, everyone's circumstances and life situations are different. I just wish that I could tell myself, go back and tell myself that my worth does not depend on this. My worth is not dependent on what my career is going to be. I am never just my career anyway. I'm so much more than what I do for work. And it's so emphasised in school that, if you don't go to college, you're going to be homeless and you're going to just never be anything. It's so not the point. There is no point going to college to do something you absolutely hate because you're doing it to please or impress someone else. Do what you want to do, and if you don't feel ready, don't go. There's so many other things you can do for a year. But by all means, if there's a course that you're kind of interested in, you think it might help you get to know what you want to do, then do that course. But I'm just saying, don't feel like you have to follow the sheep. Don't feel like you have to follow everyone else and what they're doing, or listen to everyone else's opinion on what you want to do or what you should do. And don't let your self-worth be defined by school in general. This is all completely different. Well, not completely different, but I'm saying different things to what I said when I first recorded this and it stopped recording, which I'm really not happy about, but I feel like generally the same things will come out, just worded differently. The sixth thing I learned from my teenage years: things will not always feel this heavy. You are adapting to, coping with, and enduring so much in life, as well as becoming a teenager. You do not need to worry so much about anything. You just need to find the things that help you cope and devote your time and energy into these. So as a teenager, I had things going on in my personal life, at home, with myself, mental health struggles, and I suppose becoming a teenager, having all those hormones, all these external things going on, along with trying to just be, was very, very, very difficult. That was probably one of the lowest points in my life. My mental health was in the gutter, so many things going on in my personal life, and trying to know the answer, trying to be in control was constantly things that I was constantly trying to do, or I was trying to know all the time, constantly overthinking, constantly just feeling like this was it. I was screwed. And I feel like just giving yourself a bit of credit for the change that you're experiencing while you're becoming a teenager, and going, you know what, this is actually really hard and I'm doing a really good job coping with this when, you know, I haven't got a clue and my hormones are all over the place and everything feels so scary and everything's changing so quickly for my eyes. Just to kind of let go of it and not be as worried and not be as scared, and kind of express these things too, you know, tell a lot more people, because I guarantee you a lot of people, especially your age, are feeling the exact same. And even if you don't have people your own age to speak to, find support in someone else, in a private place if you need to be, if you don't have support at home, or if you don't have support in any family members or even friends. There is always someone to talk to, and just expressing these things gets so, like, it's such a relief and a weight off your shoulders to just go, okay, it is normal to feel this way, and I actually don't need to have it all figured out right now. Because I spent so much time overthinking and worrying, that I feel a lot of my teenage years were not so much wasted, because it obviously taught me a lot, but I should have been enjoying that time. And obviously personal circumstances / mental health both did impact me not enjoying that time of my life. Devoting your time and energy into coping mechanisms, which could be hobbies, could be friends, anything that helps you get through that time. I wish I had have devoted myself to things and hobbies, and they make the hard times a lot easier to deal with and make everything feel a bit lighter. So I suppose having things in place for when times are tough and practicing them like often is so important. Don't let yourself go down these rabbit holes, because you're never going to know the answer. Even when you get older, you're never going to know the answers to everything, and it's just wasting your time and energy delving too much into these things. The 7th thing I learned from my teenage years: the school system is not for everyone, and struggling does not mean that you're failing or are a failure. Not everyone learns in the same way, not everyone has the same brain. Again, school, not a good time for me. From my 3rd year in secondary school to my Leaving Cert year, not good. Academically, was not performing as well as I had been in all of my previous school years. My exam results they were going down, slowly going down. I wasn't focusing in class. I wasn't able to focus in class. I wasn't doing my homework, couldn't retain information. I really was trying, I couldn't, because there was too much going on up here, and that's fine. That's so okay. I feel like there needs to be more accommodations made and put in place for people struggling with their mental health and other issues, because not everyone is going to learn at the same pace anyway, regardless of whether they have personal stuff going on or not. But if they do have personal stuff and issues going on outside of school, they are going to not be able to go. They're not going to be able to learn at the same rate as everyone else or keep up. Because, yeah, and everyone in general has different abilities, everyone has different skills. Some people are good at maths, some people aren't good at maths, some people are good at spelling, others aren't good at spelling. And to assess everyone on this one exam, or their ability to retain information, it's not fair, because not everyone is the same, and that's amazing that they're not all the same, and everyone learns differently. So I feel like, yeah, school is not for everyone, in my opinion. I didn't do well in my last 3 years of school, and I really could have done with a different way of being assessed. I really could have done with what I think has come into place now, the gradual assessments. I would have done so well. I just couldn't do this long-term retaining information and then a huge exam at the end. I didn't have the brain for it at the time. Now saying that, like, and the reason I say it is because since I left school I have done three or four different things that I've been assessed on and had some sort of exam in, but it was all the way I was taught in these things, and some of them were ETB courses / FOSS courses. So yeah, the way I was taught and the way I was assessed in these courses was completely different to how I was assessed in school, and because of this I got mainly merits and distinctions. I did so well, and I was also in a much better headspace at the time. So yeah, do not base your self-worth on how you're doing academically, because it is not the be all and end all, and there's so many other options out there nowadays. You are not how well you perform in school, basically. I have to do these really quick because everyone in my house wants to use the bathroom, I've just been told. Number 8, the 8th thing I learned in my teenage years: you don't need to have a lot of friends to be popular, you just need one good friend and your family. There's so much time to meet people you can be yourself around. I was not a very popular person from my 3rd year in school to my last year in secondary school. I went maybe 1 or 2 years without many friends at all because I didn't feel like I was able to talk to people. I had extreme social anxiety and it was a very, very difficult time in my life, put my hands up. But I have learned that I will and I am meeting people who I relate to, and your worth also does not rely on how many friends you have or how popular you are. It's a good thing if you are not fitting in with everyone. It's a good thing if you don't relate to everyone, because that means you are your own person, and forcing yourself to make conversation with or forcing yourself to fit in with these people is crushing you and your values and the things you're interested in. Be you and the right people will meet you and you will meet them. The 9th thing I learned: eating crap will only make you feel crap. I'm still learning this, but what you put into your body affects your mind so much. It affects your energy levels, your focus. If I could tell myself when I was younger to stop eating potato slices at lunch with curry, I'd tell me. If I could tell myself that constant processed crap food is what's contributing to my mental state, I would tell her. I wish that I had the knowledge. I didn't know at the time. I wish I had the knowledge at the time to know to choose my food better, to eat better. Number 10, the 10th thing I learned in my teenage years is movement is your best friend. That's just one I made up there because I actually have nothing wrote for the 10th reason or the 10th thing I learned for some reason. I must have forgot. But movement is your best friend. It has benefited me so much in my mental health, my mental well-being. As a teenager, I walked and exercised, but for all the wrong reasons. I wanted to lose weight drastically quick. I did lose weight drastically quick, and it is not healthy. Movement has helped me in so many aspects of my life. It has helped my confidence, my ability to be disciplined, my ability to feel accomplished, and to show myself that I'm capable. Exercise is amazing for everything, and I would have liked to have some sort of physical hobby when I was that age. Social anxiety, everything I started I quit, but I wish that I could go back and tell myself, keep going and that social anxiety will go away. The more you avoid fear, the more that fear manifests. That's number 11. There's an 11th one for you. Fear can be combated with action. Once you take action, the fear slowly begins to go away. And that is all for me. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a like, share if you feel like it, comment and let me know what you'd like to see next if you have any suggestions, because I will be making a lot more videos like this. And thank you so much if you did watch throughout and watch till the end.